Welcome back to the Potential Difference Research Lab. In this video, we are going to be recapping the original statements made in the initial video on this playlist, and we're going to be using our RegenX generator prototype, our demonstration prototype, to basically recap all of these elements here: correction of LENZ'S law, introduction to Heins' law, and so on and so on. So in a lot of the videos already posted, we explain LENZ'S law. And if you're not familiar with LENZ'S law is essentially Newton's third law as it applies incorrectly to electromagnetic systems. And Newton's third law states that every action has an equal and opposite reaction. And this is incorrectly explained in electromagnetic circuits, such that the direction of an induced current and its magnetic effect is always such that it will oppose that produces it. And the glaring error with that statement is that in order to oppose something, work and energy must be performed, and a source of energy must be available to perform that work. And so when we correct LENZ'S law, we will get the direction of an induced current and its electromagnetic field energy that is created is always such that it will perform negative work and oppose the change that produces it. So we'll see that in this prototype when we place the conventional coil on load, and we witness a reduction in the kinetic energy of the system. That's negative work being performed by the electromagnetic field energy that's created around the generator coil. Incidentally, the electromagnetic field energy is created, and the law of conservation of energy, well, that's here, we'll get to that, is also false. So, introduction to Heins' law of induction. Heins' law of induction states that the direction of a delayed induced current, which you will see on the oscilloscope, the direction of a delayed induced current and its electromagnetic field energy is always such that it will assist the change that produces it. So if we go to introduction to Heins' fourth law of motion, Heins' fourth law of motion states that for every action there is an equal and complementary reaction. So when the RegenX generator coil is placed on load, you will see an equal and complementary reaction, which means that the system will accelerate and the output to the load will increase, whereas the equal and opposite reaction produced by the conventional coil will cause negative work to be performed and for the kinetic energy of the system to decrease. So the law of conservation of energy states that energy can't be created, but if energy wasn't being created in an electric generator, the kinetic energy of the system would not decrease. So clearly, the law of conservation of energy does not apply in electromechanics or electricity and magnetism, and it never has. In fact, the law of conservation of energy is completely false because energy can be created. And so that's about it. Let's fire up the system, and we'll look at violating Lenz's law, violating Newton's third law, invalidating the law of conservation of energy, introduction to Heins's law of induction, and introduction to Heins's fourth law of motion. Okay, so our system is at rotational equilibrium. We're basically observing Newton's third law right now, first law right now, and I'm going to place the conventional coil on load, and we will observe a decrease in the kinetic energy of the system. Again, the global scientific physics community wants you to believe, and has been believing itself, that the reduction of kinetic energy of a rotor that's turning at close to 3,500 RPM, that the reduction of the kinetic energy, the negative work performed the reduction in kinetic energy can be performed without energy, which any reasonable person wouldn't believe. So we're going to place the conventional coil on load. We are going to induce current to flow in our conventional coil, and the created electromagnetic field energy is going to perform negative work and decelerate the system. So the kinetic energy of the system is going down. Current is flowing in our conventional coil. Electromagnetic field energy is being created around the coil. It's performing negative work in reducing the kinetic energy of the system. So Lenz's law is incorrect in the sense that it doesn't identify electromagnetic field energy as being created, and it doesn't identify negative work being performed by that electromagnetic field energy. So again, here we have the low current sine wave for the conventional coil, and Heins's law states that when the current is delayed sufficiently in the time domain, which you're going to see on the oscilloscope, the yellow sine wave, When the load current is delayed sufficiently in the time domain, the electromagnetic field energy that's created will always assist the change that produces it. That means that it's going to increase the kinetic energy of the rotor, and the system speed will increase. So we are increasing the kinetic energy of the system. This is the load current sine wave for the Regenex coil. And the electromagnetic fields that are being created around the Regenex generator coils in the prototype are performing positive work. They're creating an equal and complementary reaction, and basically that's Heins' fourth law. For every action, there's an equal and complementary reaction. So once again, rotational equilibrium. Negative work being performed by electromagnetic field energy that's created, and positive work being performed by electromagnetic field energy. Taking the time to watch this video. Cheers.